morning. It's March 10th, and I wanted to do an updated video on our sweet potato slips experiment that we are doing. These are Georgia Jet, and this is Georgia Jet. They're all the same sweet potato. These sweet potatoes were started in milk jugs, just the bottom of a milk jug with holes in the bottom. And we planted the sweet potato. Let me turn it around where you can see. We planted the sweet potato halfway in the potting mix. This is a milk jug with potting mix and play sand on top. You can see the sweet potato there. These were started on January the 5th. And this one was a sweet potato that we started 5 days later. And we planted this sweet potato fully underground. This is potting mix, just in a small little container, probably a 1 gallon pot. And we planted the whole sweet potato completely under the potting mix. We didn't leave it sitting out halfway like this. 5 days later, our friend called us, and after we started these, I made a video in the playlist of how we start our sweet potatoes, and he asked us to start some for him. So I said, well, this is a perfect time to do an experiment on seeing which way does better for us. And I've watched a lot of videos on YouTube of people planting the whole potato under the ground. And I've seen videos of them planting the potato and leaving it halfway outside of the soil. And then I've seen a lot of videos of them taking a sweet potato and sitting it in a glass of water. When I first started growing our own sweet potato slips, I did the sweet potato with the toothpicks and submerging it in the water. I stopped doing that because here in our area, it just takes forever, or for me anyway, it took forever to get these slips to be this big. I'm talking 3 months sometimes, 4 months to get them this big, and you constantly have to change the water. So I stopped doing it that way after I saw a video on putting your sweet potato, laying it halfway in the potting mix and leaving half of the potato exposed to sunlight. And then I've seen videos that say this is the best way, planting them solely under the ground, and that may work in a southern climate where the temperature of the soil warms up faster than in our environment. They say in the forums that I've read that a sweet potato, the soil needs to be around 65 to 70 degrees before your sweet potato slips will start forming. Here, we're not going to be able to do that in March unless you're growing inside under lights. And that's what I do. I filled this about almost 3/4 of the way up with potting mix. I put it in an ice cream container because a milk jug fits perfectly in an ice cream container. And I poured water inside the ice cream container and set this container down in the bottom. If you use potting mix, it will wick up the moisture into the soil. And then we cover it with play sand to help with fungus gnats. And this is potting mix. The sweet potato was buried completely underground. These are 5 days difference. These have been growing for 64 days, and this one has been growing for 59 days. the exact same potting mix, under the exact same light, the exact same distance from the light, and you see the results. If putting a sweet potato works best for you in a jar of water, then by all means doing it. And if planting your sweet potato fully underground works better for you, then by all means do it. But for us, in our climate zone, in our area, this is by far the best way to start sweet potato slips. And I have did this for 5 or 6 years now, and I will always plant my sweet potato halfway into the potting mix after it has been saturated with water, and then you can get it to seep down in there very nicely. And this is the way we're going to do it. We've been doing it this way. These in the back were actually taller than these right here. They were growing up into the light. So a week, well, not even a week, probably 3-4 days ago, I went ahead and took some cuttings off of these. And you can see that. I take the cuttings, get that back down in there. I cut that right off the top. You can see here, they grew so tall I had to put tape and string to tie them down from growing up in my lights. When they continued to grow up in the lights, I just took this thing and I cut it off right there. And what will happen is where this little leaf is, there'll be another sprout come out or slip. And it'll continue to grow, and then I'll cut it off again. And a lot of people will break this whole thing off of the potato. I don't do that, because if you do that, you lose the ability to continue growing. Now, when it gets time for us to give our friends some and our neighbors some, I do this every year, I will at that point, when we're about finished out with however many we need and however many they need, then I will break off the bigger ones from the sweet potato. And I will probably keep those for myself. But you can take a sweet potato slip. I have many videos in my playlist on how to do this. And you can cut this thing and stick it in water. And if you put that under lights, within several weeks, probably 2 weeks, you'll see these things starting to root. Then you can plant that. And you can also, once you cut that off, it will stimulate new growth coming out of these side nodes off of the sweet potato slip, and you can cut it again. I've did that for years with great results. You can already see we're cutting the slips off of our sweet potatoes. Within a few weeks, these will root, and I'll get these planted. And this was our experiment. And it just so happened that our friend called us a few days later and said, start me some. So I said, this is a perfect time to try it. So if planting the whole sweet potato works best for you, then do it. This works best for us. I'm thinking that because this sweet potato can see the light, it stimulates more growth than burying the sweet potato in the ground. This is our experiment. This is what works for us. This is 64 days of growth. And this is how we do it. So just a little video to show the results of our sweet potato experiment. If you like the content of our channel and you like the videos we put out, please give me a thumbs up and click the subscribe button, and we'll do more videos in the future for you guys. Thanks for watching.